Nothing is what it seems. I mean, that seems the most no-nonsense tagline we've had for a while, has to be said. At number 16, it's The Illusionist. Welcome to Long Play Video. Now, here we are down at the shop on a Saturday afternoon for the 85th episode of running through my top 100 films. All the way up at number 16, we're going to be talking about The Illusionist today. No one else in the shop. It's a unpopular one.
They went behind a curtain and they all just disappeared. I don't know what happened to them.
Everyone took out the Prestige instead and left the Illusionist on the shelf.
Lots to be discussed about that.
Literally every podcast that I could find on the Illusionist was just which is better, the Illusionist or the Prestige? And then people arguing about it. There was the only one that was a podcast devoted to going through all of the films of Paul Giamatti, which is a task. I thought.
Yeah.
I mean,
listening check
it. No, it was quite funny. But check that out if you're a big Paul Giamatti fan. But
there you go.
So here we are with The Illusionist. Have you seen this film? Do you know about this film? It's not the Prestige. Do you know? Can you remember the difference between the Prestige and the Illusionist?
So it's funny you should say that, because I was having a look to try and think, which one is this? Is this the one with Hugh Jackman in? And I couldn't remember. And then I looked. So the Illusionist came out in 2006, and the Prestige came out in 2006. I mean, the buses, right? You wait how long for a magician film, and then they both come out in the same year. So
it's one of those classics. It happens, doesn't it? Like Tombstone and Wyatt Earp and Deep Impact and Armageddon and The No Strings Attached and Just Friends or Friends with Benefits. Like, I don't think there's anything that like one studio heard that the other studio was doing a magician film and so then decided to copy it. And I would say I don't know. I think because they're both period pieces as well, that's also like makes it a bit more confusing. Like if it was like The Illusionist came out the same year as Now You See Me, you'd be a bit like, they're both magic films, but whatever. But because they're both set in like the early 20th century or late 19th century, I think, for the Prestige, that does make it a little bit more similar, I would say.
Do you think someone was like trying to push this like a screenplay around, or like a script, and they were just like, I'll just tweak it slightly and then take it to two different studios, and then they both said yes, and you're like, oh, okay. Now we've got to create two films that are the same but different.
If you look at all of the films of Hollywood, I'm not sure that there's like so much diversity of content and theme that you're like, what are the odds of two movies being the same? You're a bit like, well, within a 5-year span, every movie is basically the same. So
yeah, that's true. But these two, like you said, I think you're right. If there was a very different type of magician film, but they are very period dramas and about magic, and came out in exactly the same year. So I've obviously got zero hope of remembering anything that's in this film versus the other film.
So you have seen it, and you have seen.
I've definitely seen it, and I've definitely seen the Prestige. I think I remember the Prestige more. I think I'm not sure I remember the Illusionist as much. But like great casting, all of them. Like the Prestige, Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, and then the Illusionist, Edward Norton, Jessica Biel, and Paul Giamatti. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So very strong casting both. So let me ask you this question then. You probably remember them both, I'd imagine.
I do.
So So were you tempted? Do you think this one is just substantially better than the other, or was it like sort of close on which one you might have on the list?
No, I like this one more. The Prestige for me, like it's a very good film. It's Christopher Nolan. It's very well made. For me, and I'm I'm a bit of a sucker for magic in movies. Like I do, I do like sort of
the romantic kind normally.
Well, funnily enough, this is a romance that we may as well get that out there straight away. This is a romantic film. but like I mean, first of all, the Prestige is just a bit dark for me. Like it's
Yeah.
basically about obsession ruining everyone's lives, and you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
great. But like at the end of the film, you're like, oh, so everyone's lives were ruined. Great. Well, that's that was useful. And then
Yeah, it's just like real life. What do you mean?
and then obviously the Prestige does have David Bowie in, so you know I love a musical cameo.
Ah.
Um, but what I think with the Prestige, they
Mm.
they show you the trick, and actually
Okay.
that is like I get it, and I think that almost let's divide the world into complete binary and just into two types of people. But I think you either like with the Prestige, you see the trick, and it's like you know it's explained to you, and there is a
Yeah.
twist, but it's basically explained to you, and then it's like, oh, you know, now go back and look at everything, and it's all there,
Yeah.
and so it's sort of neat, and it's there, and you're in on it. With the Illusionist, there's still some bits that like you don't know,
Yeah.
like there is still that magic element to it that I think
Yeah.
is why I just like it a bit more, because it's
So
kind of explained, but it's sort of there's still that you're not shown behind the curtain fully, which yeah, I just think works better for me, because it just sort of maintains that little bit of kind of yeah magic in it.
yeah. So this is where now I'm getting a little bit not sure I'm seeing fully behind the curtain, because I know how much you love Columbo, and everything in Columbo is told to you up front. Yeah, you've just described to me The Prestige, which basically sounds like Columbo as a film, and you said you don't like it as much. So if
the
Columbo did magic, you wouldn't want it to be the same format. That's what you're saying.
the DVD, if you look closely, the Illusionist does say the anti Columbo on it as a DVD cover.
Not endorsed by Columbo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Columbo is its own brand of magic. Um, yeah, no, I think yeah, no, completely, because I think with both of them, and this is why also they're very similar, and obviously most people talk about both of them, but like both of them
Mm,
kind of almost sort of show you the trick and then go on. But with the Illusionist, that I think it's a film that like at the end there's a
mm,
certain amount of oh, you know, and obviously like no spoilers, but it's kind
yeah.
of a little bit of sort of explaining what's gone on and what's happened. But actually
Mm,
the narrative structure of the Illusionist, because you've seen it, like is really interesting and actually quite complicated, because
okay.
actually like it just when you watch it this time, sort of realize, just sort of pay attention to actually like the order of events that you see in the film, because actually the whole thing is kind of told as a story by one of the
Yeah.
characters in the story. And so I think like
Okay.
on the first time of watching it, you kind of miss that. And then you watch it almost just as a sort of straight narrative and straightforward. But then
Mm,
I watched it I watched it recently. I watched it maybe a couple of years ago, and I just kind
yeah.
of paid attention at the beginning and to
Yeah.
like what happens, and yeah, the entire film is kind of being retold, and I think that for me also like just has that spark of interest of like
Mm,
it's not that you're seeing a magic trick, but you're seeing like someone describe a magic trick, and I think that's the great thing, almost sort of about magic and also about magic in movies, is that you're kind of it's someone recounting something. You know, you can go and see a magic show, and that's and that's fine. But like almost when someone's then retelling it, and they're like, oh, and it's amazing, and then you walk through the wall of China, like
yeah.
the wall of China, or like oh, and then the elephant disappeared, and you're like, well, what? And like you then try to start working it out about how they could do it, but you weren't there, or it's sort of you're just kind of
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, that sounds really amazing. And then that's kind of like, well, how did they do that? And is it an illusion? Is it magic? And stuff like that. And I think that's what they kind of capture in this, is like someone talking about magic and kind of describing magic, but you see some of it, but you don't see some of it. And so I think that, yeah, for me just really works and makes it actually, yeah, really interesting. Whereas for the Prestige,
Yeah.
it's a lot more kind of sort of straight in like, the sequence of things, and then it's like, oh, but you did, but you missed this, and like, oh yeah, but back here, then you can kind of explain it all, and just for me, I think it's just not as interesting.
So I feel like this is sending us back to 1994, Andy, where his love of magic and didn't want to ruin the illusion or being kicked out of the magic circle by telling everyone how it was done. So this is nostalgia as well.
1994, Andy would be very young to be practicing magic, has to be said. But
well, no one would put it past you. I'll check with Rob and see if he was watching you at that point.
How many times did I disappear? Obviously, directed by Neil Berger. Do you remember we talked about this very early on?
We did. I can't remember who this is though. No, who is Neil? No, he's not one of those awful films in the bottom half.
No.
Who is he? What did he do? He's not a director that I've met.
Are you sure? You've met so many. No, it's Limitless. Yeah.
So he directed both these films.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And kind of almost like just these films. He's directed other films, but like these are the only two that have done particularly well. Yeah.
And is it Norton? Because I was trying to think, because there was a point when Norton was just absolutely on fire, and he was just immense. And you think about Fight Clubs, it's kind of like that's magic as well, right? And like very similar to what we're talking about, obviously around now in terms of the illusion. It is like a magic trick of sorts. And he was just like on fire, right? There were so many good films he was in, and then I felt like he just dropped off the planet completely. Whether he just decided to stop or whatever, I don't know. But is this like sort of peak Norton? Would you say? Do you think this is like up there with one of his best?
And I think this is I think this is like after peak, because he kind of obviously Primal Fear is kind of when he breaks onto it. That was 96. And then American History X, Rounders, Fight Club is sort of all end of the 90s.
Jeez, Fight Club 99. God, that's depressing.
Yeah. And then like I think he just gets a lot more picky, and like he just does the things that he wants to do. Obviously, that he then has like the Incredible Hulk kind of detour, and then I think he just chooses what he wants to be involved in, and it kind of has done everything. So actually, like I think he just he's kind of made his money, so he does he works a lot with Wes Anderson, and he almost sort of does what he wants to do rather than anything else. Again, I think he's definitely like an actor, like an actor, and I don't think he's particularly interested in sort of the blockbusters and stuff like that, right? So I think when you sort of fall in with Wes Anderson, then
you're probably safe in that front.
But like really was funny enough for her. My wife said, he's like the serious Sam Rockwell, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. And then
I don't know who's coming out best in that scenario.
Well, we both were like, we kind of like Sam Rockwell a bit more, because Ed Norton does seem very serious. I don't know whether that's true or not, but he does.
He does seem quite serious, doesn't he, in the films? He does. And Sam Rockwell does. I think he's getting definitely much better with age. I feel like he's found that nice, just that level of sort of comedy that he has within his films as well. Like I feel like his newer films or the newer characters I've seen him play are much better than, or maybe I just prefer those more. But okay. So this came out in 2006, as we said. It's Ed Norton, a whole host of people. Well, I'm definitely not going to remember the difference between this and The Prestige. Are we going to have to watch both of these to compare them in part two? It's a real life double header.
Having a real life double header. We could do. I mean, we could do. I don't think it's particularly needed because I know that you'll prefer the Prestige to this film.
And there's a big chance I will remember bits from both and put them into one film. So
maybe you need to watch both of them, and you need to be like, "Oh, I thought that where's the bit with the rubber ball?" And I'll be like, "No, that's the Prestige."
Yeah, that bit was so good when Hugh Jackman singing. No, that's still the Prestige.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know that he was Batman. It's
well, I think I've definitely seen the Prestige more, so I don't really remember this. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. It kind of, from the DVD cover, it feels a bit like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's that sort of, like you said, that sort of period. It feels like as well.
It's sort of hinting at that yellow. That kind of yellow brown coloring that we know from that I'm sure you kind of get almost a physical reaction to and get a bit worried about whenever you see it. And I'm like, why are all my DVDs this color? So yeah. And I would say again, because it's a bit more cheesy, I think, than the Prestige as well. I would say that like the baddie in this is like a really satisfying baddie. And Paul Giamatti is great as well. I did like Paul Giamatti.
He's actually in a lot of good films. Like when you look back, like he feels like he's supporting actor in a lot of films. And obviously he was in Billions now, and he was like huge in Billions.
Do I have the podcast for you?
I feel like I've just sold that inadvertently, haven't I? I didn't even mean to.
Okay, listeners, maybe finish our podcast before going and listening to theirs. But no, I think he's good, and that's the thing. Like in this, the way that they do this, he is almost the main character in this. Because actually, again, if like with the way that they tell the story, it's just he is almost the main character.
Do you know if it's based on a book? I'm just thinking, obviously, Limitless was based on a book. Do you know if it's based on a book, or is it?
Yeah, I think a short story called Eisenheim, the Illusionist. So I don't know how much of it was kind of taken from it, but I think like the setting and stuff like that.
All right.
So, but I think like also there's quite a few times where it is like, do you actually want to know how the trick is done? And I think that's like for me with magic in movies. It's like, do you actually want to know how the trick is done, or do you just want to enjoy the illusion? And that's, I mean, especially realistically, like in the 2000s, magic was like pretty big. You had like the David Blaine and Chris Angel or something, another one of them. So it's not so surprising that they would then like show an origin story of magic. But I do think that with the Prestige, but I think especially with this one, it's kind of like, do you actually just want to enjoy it and enjoy the show? And almost there's like a scene where, like someone's then trying to sort of say, okay, well, how did you do it? Like, I'm going to try and guess. And you sort of see Norton like plays it really well, where he just sort of smiles, and it's just a bit like, I mean, if you really, if you must find out how I've done it, then, and everyone else is a bit like, we just want to enjoy the show. So I think that is really good, and I think that's what it sort of talks to a lot, which is why I like it so much.
I feel like you're going to be the Ed Norton character, and I'm going to be the Paul Giamatti character. I can see this developing already. Nice.
We can get that dynamic going, right?
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, we'll. I presume you're gonna do the double header. To be fair, I
for sure
remember films, so actually I don't need to watch the Prestige.
Okay. Well, I shall, and then confuse them together.
Yeah, and we'll put them both on in the shop, and we'll see you after the jump.
So, not a one-word reaction. I'm going to put this instead. Impressive romance story under the guise of a magician movie.
I told you it was a romance. I wasn't trying to hide anything. It wasn't sleight of hand. I wasn't trying to. We're trying to get as many magic puns in as we possibly can.
Yeah. No, it was good. I mean, they crack it open straight away, right? They don't mess around. You get involved into the story immediately, and they then immediately very quickly move you along to the actual story that they want to tell. And so it's good. So you don't feel like, oh, but I wanted a little bit more magic. So I feel like they do that well. And actually, obviously, it's called The Illusionist. I had seen this before, but I couldn't remember pretty much 95% of it.
Standard.
But it is very much like, obviously you say magician, illusionist, but it's definitely, he's not a magician, right? Because a lot of what he's doing is more sort of, I guess, what you would now call maybe more spiritual, right? Because he's like bringing back the dead or whatever. So I think The Illusionist is a good title. I don't think The Magician would have worked. But I thought it was good. Ed Norton, obviously, pretty much as always, he was absolutely brilliant. I mean, this part is just made for him, right? He's so good.
Yeah.
Man. He's so good.
The thing with Ed Norton, you're always sort of rooting for him, but you also like, if he goes a step further, he's just going to be evil and take over the world and be creepy and insane. And I think that's what he does. He's always on that edge where you're like, I like you, but I could also see that you might just cut my head off. So.
Well, because of Primal Fear, right? He played it so well there.
Yeah, maybe.
That you're just like, what? It was just too good. So it's sort of set in your stone. But I thought he was very, very good. I mean, I think they're all good, but he really holds the scenes well. And I thought the story was good. I like the fact, like you said, it was, it didn't beat around the bush. It told you it was a romance story very early on, and then went with it.
But then the narrative structure, I think, is like one of those things that then when you watch it again, you really kind of appreciate. So, like, obviously, almost sort of the end bit is at the beginning, right? So he is arresting him at the beginning, and then he goes to the Crown Prince's room, and then he's narrating the entire story. So actually, like, he goes in to see the Crown Prince literally in the first 3 minutes, and then the entire film happens. And then he's back in the room, and so actually, like, that narrative structure, I think, is really clever, because it is kind of almost like a trick where you're like, oh yeah, if I watch this again, actually, like this all does it. And obviously, there's the sort of the bits where at the end, Paul Giamatti's kind of figuring out. But I think just the way that they tell the story as well, and the fact that they start with him arresting him. And you're kind of like, you're straight into it, right? It's not chronological. It's like, okay, so he's going to get arrested by the end, but then you almost sort of forget about it. And then Paul Giamatti,
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. And then he's the narrator over the top of it. So he's, so he says, he says about, well, we know a lot about his life, and he's there. And then, like, and then I arrested him and I spoke to it. Like, actually, the narration that he then has over the top of it, just every now and again, sort of brings you back and think, oh yeah, actually, he is telling the story to the Crown Prince all the way up until the end. So actually, like,
I think funny.
I think they do that. I just think that elevates it. It just makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, and like you're like, because obviously it's back in the olden times, and he's just thinking, I'm gonna need to bide a bit of time because they're just on horseback, they're not in cars. So
I sent a letter. So who knows when they're gonna turn up?
Let me tell you a story. Well, when he was 4, and off we go.
Stalling.
The guys are sitting there still writing letters like, when are you going to get to the point? All these Christmas cards to complete,
I mean, he does well just walking down that hallway with all the antlers, because it'd be very easy to like snag your coat, or like, you just get a thread or something. It would be awful.
I had that as a note. It's like, moose's heads are obviously the epitome of evil. It's like,
exactly.
You evil lair come in, like when they just had that big long scene, and there's like, I don't know, there's like 400 of them or something.
I think they're stags. They're not moose.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think you get mooses in Austria. You've gone too native, too local.
You never know. You might have imported them in. So.
That
But
was
yeah,
a
no, I
side.
do.
That was a side plot. His great importing of other animals into. I would say he is such
so
a
here we
great
go.
baddie as well.
More, I must say. I mean, I do, and it was interesting. I remember you said in part one, it's all about. This one's not about telling you the how you do the trick, and I think it's good because realistically, it is a bit more spiritual. And I don't, and you know, I think it couldn't really happen, right? They've pushed it past into more fantasy than reality. They've used the magical.
Oh, do you think
idea.
so? That's interesting
Yeah.
because I feel like this is much more because there's just like a few bits. The fact that they sort of show the bit where they've got the camera and stuff, and it's sort of like, you know, this is obviously this is just a, you know, a prototype, but this is how it could work, and they're like, no,
Well, no,
couldn't.
because it's a screen,
Like,
right? It's on a screen.
yeah. But like, and then there's a bit actually when he's sort of supposed to be waiting for her, and they're packing up, and he says, "No, leave all the projectors," and it's just like a away line. So I what I like
Oh,
about
I
it
didn't
is
hear that.
actually.
Yeah.
I
I just don't know
feel
if that
like
would work
it's
though. Do you think it
well,
would still work?
that's the trick. But I think,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I mean,
he
that's
sort
what
of
I don't mind. Yeah,
says all the way along, like I mean,
yeah,
there at no point is he like, no, I'm raising the dead, and then obviously like you think
yeah,
that
yeah.
he's
Obviously,
raising the dead, but then she's not dead, so actually like
yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah. You know,
he's
he's
not
not
raising the
raising
dead.
them, but I just feel like they don't. Obviously, you don't need it explained in the film, but I just feel like I don't think you could have explained it because I don't think it's feasible. Obviously, not raising the dead, as in like having like 12 like projectors or whatever to project a 3D image that comes out of the crowd and then moves along down the sideway and then comes up to the stage. I just don't think that'd be actually possible. But
I would say that the characters that he's got to do that, like obviously if you're in the reality of the movie, he's employed children actors to be like
yeah,
the ghosts that walk through, and he's done
yeah.
amazingly because that little kid looks creepy as anything when he walks past Paul
Yeah.
Giamatti. So well
Yeah,
done,
and he's just
Isaac.
looking at him like, I know who you are. Yeah. But yeah,
He has
no,
done well to find that kid.
he's
Presumably
got
there were
yeah.
auditions. There was like, okay, you have
Uh,
to be creepy but not too creepy. You have
yeah.
to,
How good can you be at being creepy? And
yeah,
like, so I watched The Prestige as well,
yeah,
to compare them. And I think in there's pieces in that film as well, which goes past the realms of reality as well. But
yeah.
it was an interesting concept watching them both because and then I think about like Now You See Me as well, and they're all like sort of like these semi-revenge movies. I was like, what is it about magic and revenge? Like they go away for like 10 to 15 years, they come back and then they've got like an axe to grind, but they're gonna do
Yeah.
it through with a rabbit out of a hat. It's
I saw
bizarre.
a great description of the Illusionist, which was someone said, "Oh, so it's all about a guy who gaslights a dirtbag into committing suicide to steal his girlfriend." And I was like, "That's a great description of the movie."
That is a really good description of the movie.
So
Yeah.
obviously with the Prestige and we said beforehand the films are obviously interlinked because they're coming out in the
Yeah.
same year. But
Yeah.
my thing with this is that like all the way through this film I'm like smiling and I think it's even though it's a little bit dark, it's still fun because it's kind of like maybe because the
Yeah.
bad
It is more
person's
fun.
like the bad person is I think Rufus Sewell does
Yeah.
superbly well. I think he's great
He
as a
does.
baddie, and then he's the
Yeah.
crown prince, so like no one cares because
Yeah. And it's the
he's rich
monarchy.
and
Yeah.
monarchy, so it's fine. He can
Yeah.
you can
You
take
can
him
be the
down.
bad guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Whereas with the Prestige, it just feels like so like
It's
depressing.
darker.
And
It is darker.
it's so much darker and it's just so much, oh, I'm going to use magic. And then for me as well, the difference with the Prestige in this is in this you have Paul Giamatti as the audience. And so you have someone who he knows that it's not real, but he says maybe it is real. I think in the Prestige you don't have the audience. It's just two obsessed people going at it and like
I think you're right. I mean, ironically, probably both movies, although they're sort of set around magic isn't really the key thing of either movie, right? Like in The Prestige, it is more around this they can't get past this point of they have to one up each other or they have to be better than the other person, and really that's what the entire film is about. And in this, it's more about, obviously he gets effectively almost like exiled, right? And he comes back and he's like, you know, I went on this journey and now I'm coming back to, you know, I guess sort of like in a Prince of Thieves type way, take back what rightfully was mine. And so interesting, even though they both, like you said, they were both set in, you know, olden times, they're both sort of evolving magic. I think the themes on both of the films actually aren't really set around magic. They're different, deeper themes. And I think you're right, they are different films in that sense. And I think you're right. I think, you know, I mean, Ed Norton's very, very good in this. And I think even, like Giamatti is very good as well. And Jessica Biel, she's not in it much, so, but she is good. It's just like some of the acting that Norton does, like when he's just sitting on the chair, like moving his hands as if he's like raising this soul into a shape, and then he just sort of drops, and you just like, he's said nothing and he's just conveyed everything, and he's just very, very good, isn't he? And he really, you know, I mean, you can never say like would these films be, well, obviously we do, but I was about to say you can never say these films would be better or worse for someone else. But
welcome to the podcast. Do you listen to them?
I told you my memory's not very good. But I mean, I just can't. I can't picture. I don't know if there's going to be many films that Norton's done that you can picture anyone else doing them, because he's just like we said before, right? He picks these more niche or maybe more sort of independent type films or like interesting stories, and so he then, you know, they can't feel like, you know, well, exactly, Sausage Party for sure. the follow up to the Sausage Party. So I feel like in those scenarios, he's just he was just very good at this. I did really enjoy this. I thought it was good. I wrote down 9 minutes in, the romance started. So like, as you said, they didn't mess around. They set their stall out, so everyone knew what was happening. So this isn't going to be a magic movie. This is going to be a movie about romance.
I just say there's just so many. There are just so many small like moments in it. Funnily enough, when people keep offering Ed Norton for him to eat, and he's just like getting annoyed with people, and he's like, no, thank you. And like, again, I don't know, it sort of rounds out. You're like, oh, so he never eats with other people, or like there's just sort of that mystery of it. And it's such it could be such a throwaway moment, but you're like, oh, that's intriguing, and it just sort of draws you back in, which I think is really great. There's a really, like, when they're looking for her and that shot of the trees in the morning, and then the men sort of walking in the line, that is such a great shot, I think, and again just really sort of conjures up that image, another magic pun, but like it like really sort of brings you into the time of that it's kind of set. And then I do also, I love the butler who sees the guy, like the baddie, go after her, and you can just see on his face, he's just like, well, I'm screwed now. Like, if I tell anyone, I'm screwed. If I don't tell anyone, I'm screwed. He's just like, why does my boss always have to keep killing people?
Why on my
so
watch?
Awkward.
Why has he done it on my watch again? Yeah, and I think you're right. Like, everything about him, all the baddies in that as well, set up nicely, and obviously the chief of police, like, is good because he really does that fine line where you're like, oh, he's definitely on the police side and he's against Norton. And then later on, you're like, oh, but he's the son of a butcher. So you're like, oh, you know, maybe he's going to be with Norton's character. And so he's good. He plays that fine line very well.
So when he's talking to him, and then like he's like, well, we can find out more evidence. And then like he shoots, and it just shuts him up. And he's a bit like, okay, well, I've done my job, I guess. I guess that's dismissing me. You've just shot another moose. Okay, I'll leave now.
That was like, and he sort of has a right sort of visceral reaction to it as well. He's like, oh, God,
I did just as we were watching it. Obviously, I in my head, or obviously in reality, I just looked over at you as the credits were coming in, just thinking, I bet you Kev's like enjoying this and not having a sense of doom come down, because they were so long as well. I was just
that's the first thing I wrote. Credits don't bode well, slow start. That's the first thing I wrote. I was like, what's this guy? And I mean, I think I was doing something funny as well. And then I'd make a cup of tea or something, and then I finish, and I was like, "How are they still going?" I was like, "What's happening?"
So it's like, this is not turning out well. I did on this view as well. There's a lot of very good mustaches on display. I would say there's good facial hair. Although it's funny, they've literally not been together like, for any time at all. Obviously they've been together as man and wife. But and then she's like, "Oh, I imagined you coming back, but with less facial hair." You're like, "Oh, right, love, you're telling him to shave already." Like,
yeah,
it's like, he's like, "Well, I don't like how you've done your hair." Like, geez.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't hear that bit. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and I do wonder, do you think Prince Charles ever dressed up as a commoner and then like went out to the theatre, and then everyone was just like, "Oh, look, it's Prince Charles over there," and just like instantly recognized him?
He's unfortunate for him. He is just very large. I think he would really struggle to not stand out.
Maybe if he wore glasses again, it's the glasses again.
It's the glasses
same as last week. If you put glasses on, no one recognizes you.
You're sorted. Yeah. Was there anything new that you did notice this time?
Yeah, no, just those things. All the mustaches. I did notice you don't hear the term thrashing much these days. That's
you want it to be available more.
Yeah, that's not something. I really, this time I had like a visceral reaction, and I don't want to skip ahead to which character you think you are, but like just how much he wants to explain the tricks, the baddie. I think that really like where he's, and like people are like, "Oh, come on, let's just watch the show. Let's just have a show." And he's up there, "Well, you could do it like this." And everyone's like, "Who invited this guy?" Like, he's at a birthday party, we're like, "Wow, I can see the rabbits in the hats."
Yeah, exactly. Ruining it for everyone. And he's like the highest one, so no one can say anything because they get their head chopped off.
I thought that was funny.
They was there anything that you sort of thought, sort of questions or sort of answers? I put in this, and then we've already sort of discussed this. It's like, does the acting really elevate this script and this story? Because I think, the three main characters in this are very good, and while it is still a good script, I wonder if you didn't have these people, would it be as good? I don't know. I think if you don't have Norton, like, I can't see it being as good.
Yeah,
I just can't.
No, but I think like that. The other thing that I like about this, which I think The Prestige does more, is it's not all in the script. Like there isn't like long monologues of expository, explaining everything. And I think that's why I like it, and that's why I think it works. Is that actually it is more about the acting and stuff. It's not just written down like this. Wouldn't work as a book as well, even though it was obviously a short story. And I think that for me is in The Prestige, it just feels very like it's all explained, and it's all everyone. There's a lot of talking and explaining stuff. Whereas with Magic, it's about the show and then acting, and then you kind of move on. And I think, you're right. I think Ed Norton's like absolutely perfect for the role.
Yeah, he's so good.
So I think that, that works. But I think that's also why I like it more, is that it's more about the show, and like you are more of an audience. And again, with Giamatti being the audience, and I think that's, where he's a bit like, "Oh, well, I'm a bit of a conjurer myself, and so he wants to believe, but then he's like, as you yourself have said, you're like, "Oh, well, but how would you do that?" And that's the thing. It's like, "Oh, but that is impossible." And you're like, "Yeah, but isn't that all magic? Unless you know the trick." And then when you know the trick, you're a bit like, "Oh, actually," like, and a lot of the tricks apparently are based on tricks that they used to do. Like Houdini used to do the orange tree trick. So I think that's I completely agree, because I do think. Where normally, a lot of the films that I like are about the script. I think this, it just sort of it's about how it all comes together and is put together, and you're sort of, it's not that you're rooting for each character, but like you're invested in each character. I think even like the baddie, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, they've all got their own story, haven't they? Even though they're kind of interlinked to a point. they have all got their own story that they're all, that you're following along, and you're like, they've all got their reasonings of why they're doing different things. And even with like Ed Norton's character, you don't really find out why he comes back. You don't really find out. I mean, you presume it's, for the Duchess, but you don't really find out why he's decided, oh, right. It's almost like he feels like he had the whole Conjuring thing like planned, like he had it all set out and ready. And so you're like, why did he decide? Did he know that he was going to take on like the prince? Like, but they don't explain it, and it doesn't really matter, right? You don't need to know. You just sort of, like you said, you're enjoying the character stories, and you sort of follow their arcs. So
yeah. But it is that he comes back, and it is that thing of, well, he has come back. He doesn't know whether she's still going to be there, whether she's still going to remember him or do anything.
Yeah.
But like, he has worked out how he could get her away, basically by kind of faking her death. So I think that's where it again, like, it works really well that he doesn't know. It doesn't feel like a surefire thing. But then, like, because of the way that it kind of comes together, then that's how it kind of, it moves along. Even I think with some of the sort of smaller bits of the script where, there's a point where Giamatti's saying, well, you can't bring down the monarchy. And he's like, well, no, I can't. And he's almost sort of saying like, well, I won't be able to, but if I put enough doubt into you, then you could actually do this. And he's manipulating kind of the entire thing, because he's showing the illusion. Because, and again, that's the great magic, is like, well, we think that the spirits is the illusion, but actually it's not. That's just, that's almost the distraction.
That's the misdirection.
Exactly. Which I think is
the coup.
Works
taking
really
over the monarchy.
Exactly. I would say for the performances, the first couple of times that they have the spirits, is there some sort of warm-up act or some sort of pre-show? Because that's going to be it's a very short show. Basically, it's like 3 or 4 minutes, and then it's set. And I was wondering, is that why the mob's actually getting restless? Is because they're like, well, we paid 20 shillings for this. I feel like we should have got more of a show.
I feel like, certainly when he does the orange tree for the first time, I feel like then that felt like that was the only trick he did, and you're like, what?
He's got the butterflies.
Impressive.
Come on. That's certainly a lot longer than just getting a head to appear for 3 minutes and to say like 2 things and then to leave. But the main question I had in my head: did they let the guy go who they put in prison for the murder once the crown prince had killed himself? Because they arrested someone, and is that person just in prison being like, well, I know I didn't murder her, and then it turns out that I don't know.
That's a good point. They don't tie that up, do they? They sort of leave it running free. But did you think that there could be any deep fake in here for
I wondered about Gosling and Stone, just because they would have the chemistry. I think Jessica Biel's very good in it, but their chemistry. What I do think is good, because they have so many callbacks to. I think what she does well is that, like, I don't want to be here. I'm kind of, these circumstances. And then, funnily enough, when you kind of get the reveal almost at the end, when she's like, no, I'm leaving you and stuff, like, I think because she is a strong actress and she's very good at like those stronger parts, I think that comes across really well. So that was always the thing. Maybe Keanu as the baddie. But Swayze's too cool for the inspector. So and I do like Paul Giamatti. There's not many films where he's not great. He's a slightly lesser Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think he's capable of stealing shows.
What a lovely thing. He'll be so happy to he's like,
I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the actors of the generation. I'm saying slightly underneath him. I think most people would be happy with that. So
is he in Sideways?
Yeah.
I feel like I remember you watching that and saying you really enjoyed that.
Well, funnily enough, I've never seen the end of that, because I went to watch it at the cinema and the film caught fire halfway through.
Wow.
So actually, we were watching it.
No one should watch it.
we were watching it, and then literally on the screen there was like fire, and we were like,
wow.
Oh, and then it stopped. And then we were a bit like, is this part of the film or not? And then the lights came up, and we never watched the second half of it.
Wow. Gosh,
but he was very good
honestly.
he was very good in the Holdovers, the latest one he's
done. I haven't seen that
and
yet.
Win-Win is also a really good one that he's in, which is like a lesser known, but he's really good in that. I really like him in that. So.
Yeah, he's good in Billions as well. He's good in that.
Yeah,
he's a good actor.
Yeah.
So, which character did you have then that you would be? You one of the creepy kids?
The manager, funnily enough, just sort of sprang to mind.
Yeah,
where he's
famous as well, isn't he? That guy.
Yeah,
he's been in. He's been in a lot of things.
Yeah, he's been in a few things, hasn't he?
Yeah,
but I think it's just sort of he's funny just with the way he's like, well, I've not been hanging around just waiting for you to go, and you just think that you blame I've just been hanging around.
Yeah, you have, but you're sad that you haven't, which I appreciated a lot.
Yeah, and then even where he's like, oh, shall I introduce you like I used to? And he's like, no, it's fine. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I know him from the World's End because he's one of the mates. But yeah, no. How about you? Were you presumably the baddie where you're trying to explain how all the tricks are done?
I was the old magician by the tree. I started it all off.
Yeah,
got the flute just floating away to the sunset.
I wouldn't be sitting on a grassy knoll with your back.
Yeah, it was fun. It's like, a child just went up and there was this old man sitting under a tree, and you're like, nowadays, guys, that's not going to go down well. That's not what we want to hear.
That's the sort of person who gets arrested these days. So,
yeah. What about quotes then?
Yeah, I funnily enough, I remember from my childhood, some parents of one of my friends coming in and saying, "You can't be in a place like this. They're peasants." It was a bit awkward, but you know,
blimey.
No, I think that's quite funny. Where you're just like, you can't be in a place like this. They're peasants. You're like, that's a bit rude. It's my house.
Yeah,
come in here.
It's very rude.
They, I liked it when they said they must have liked you. They've waited for you for nearly 5 minutes. I was like,
I got that down.
Yeah, kind of completely shows.
Like, can you imagine that? Like nowadays, how long do people wait for people for like years, hours? And they're like, yeah, they must have loved you 5 whole minutes.
They'll all be on their phones, but yeah. I like the interplay between him and Giamatti. I think is really good as well. I think there's like 3 or 4 times. But I think when he says, "Are you completely corrupt?" He says, "No, not completely, no." And I think that's a good line. I think all the time when they're on the screen together, I think is really good. As I said last week, I'm going to ask you a question. It's not going to seem friendly, but it is. And I think that's because they do kind of bring in that class element as well, like where he's sort of like, I'm the son of a butcher, like, how close am I ever going to be with him?
That's clever.
And then he says, okay, well, yeah, my father was the cabinet maker. Yeah, I think again with Norton as well, but I think he can sometimes kind of almost sort of just be too much for a lot of people that he sort of needs to play off. Whereas I think him and Giamatti in this just work really, really well. And I think like their interplay, even kind of at the end, I think maybe it goes on for a little bit too long, but I think just he's a bit like, oh, you've got me. I got the Crown Prince to commit suicide, but I've realized it all. And you're not kind of, again, there's not the cynicism in it that it sort of is at the end. It's like, no, you're one, rather than like, the Prestige where it's just so dark at the end. You're like, okay, well, I don't really like any of these people. Whereas you're a bit like, oh, well, that's nice. And he's left all the money to the manager, and then he's just going to go and hang out.
Look at you. Having a little 80s ending. Like, everyone's happy. They're punching the air.
I'm a romantic at
Simple
heart,
Minds comes on.
I'm fine with that. Any others that you had, or any for the pod?
Yeah, I had those ones that you had, and then the only other one was my guest tonight is not a showman, but a wizard. And I was like, what a great way to intro. I'm like, wouldn't everyone want that? For the podcast, I had Nothing Is As It Seems. And it's like, this might have help again if anyone is listening.
This is not a podcast. This is being held ransom.
Yeah. Did you have anything for the pod?
The only one I had is a little too intelligent for his own good. I think,
Yeah.
maybe that comes in.
That's why we had no fans. That's what not for any other reason. Yeah.
We definitely, we're going to find our niche. Where it might be in the 19th century in Austria. Quite a few 3-star movies. Quite a few people, going for the 3 stars. Someone does say, strangely enough, the ending made me despise the characters I should have been rooting for and pity the customers who had served up as villains. So someone definitely thought that she should stay with the crown prince.
That's already killed one woman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is a bit. Maybe that person doesn't know the definition of thrashing. Someone said the movie was great, but there's no menu, options, or subtitles. I'm not sure what version of the movie have they got. Pretty good movie. Bought as a gift for my boyfriend, and he really likes it. I like it, but not one I can watch all the time. I think that's fair. I think don't watch this. I don't think you'd be watching this all the time, back to back for the rest of your life. I'm like, I think that's fair. A couple of quite a few. I think maybe it was a non-region DVD, so quite a few different countries translation. I thought I will say the translation. You have to guess where it's from.
The country. I like this game.
The film has a really good story, but unfortunately, it was poorly implemented.
Oh, I mean, that sounds like that could be anywhere. That just sounds like a good review.
Poorly implemented.
Oh, poorly or poorly?
Poorly.
Poorly implemented. Don't know.
It's probably one word that combines poorly implemented, and it's just like one word in their language. German.
German.
Poorly implemented, and it's probably one word that means poorly implemented.
Yeah.
The DVD has a small flaw in the medium data range.
Oh wow. I mean, I would have said that would have been German. Very technical.
Also German.
Oh, well, there you go.
And then, attention, the copy received only includes English and Italian languages. None of the other common Blu-ray languages in Zone 2. He's complaining that their language isn't included. French. There we go. There's stereotypes for a reason. So that's all good.
I'm glad that we're helping facilitate this.
And then someone just finished literally the whole review. What I expected.
Oh, right. They saw it all come in.
3 stars. Wow. 3 stars. What I expected. Yeah. And for some reason, I've bought a DVD that I only think is going to be 3 stars, and 3 stars it was.
And it was, yeah.
So obviously you've done the double feature of.
I have. Yeah.
But is that the double feature you would also recommend for our listener?
Well,
or listeners.
Yeah. Yeah, plural of 2. I mean, I think The Prestige is a good one to watch alongside this, because I do think they are selling magic.
Too much magic. Too much.
Well, there's not. Well, that was the whole thing I was going to say. There's not really much magic in either of the films, to be honest. It's very much more about the characterization of the people, and it's quite interesting how. I mean, like you said, Prestige does get quite dark, and it's like in those times, it's very difficult to be, I guess, to get ahead, and so you had to do anything you could, and the other person would do anything to stop you doing that. So it's an interesting concept, but I would love
just 2 channels. Just 2 channels.
Yeah, just there, but that's it. I think there must be a Columbo movie. So I was going to say an episode of Columbo, but there must be a Columbo movie which you'd be able to tell me about.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there's tons. There you go. So I think then you watch one of them. So then you have no reveal from this going through the whole film to finally getting the reveal, to starting off Columbo immediately with the reveal, to then reversing it. So I think Columbo film. That's my double feature.
We can maybe say Columbo. Now you see him. Where actually there's a magician who murders his employer. and it's
Yes.
with the guillotine. Maybe I've seen it, maybe I haven't. But
I'm disappointed there aren't any on here so far, but you know we've still got places to time to go.
I mean,
Could be up there
season
number
3,
one.
we just do top 100 top 100 Columbo episodes. Don't think there's
Brilliant.
enough.
What about you?
Funnily enough, I went completely different. Watched The Holiday just to see Rufus Sewell as a baddie again. I think he's just such a good baddie. He's still
like
not
a
very
really terrible romantic comedy film.
Yeah. But he again is the wrong one who's stringing Kate Winslet along. And the thing is, just you could just see it where you're just like, well, his descendants have got no nicer to women over the years. So you should just watch that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Double Rufus.
So for the algo, so we're currently you're 12 ahead.
Yeah.
But you've had a couple of weeks. So it's 42-30. What have you gone for? We accept the Prestige is going to be in there, so that's
well,
fine.
I didn't put the Prestige in there, because and while they are set similar, I do think, as I said, they are different types of films. But I put I was very much thinking around a lot of the. You've got away for 15 years. You've come back to take revenge, and the whole story is based around that entire scenario. So I went with The Count of Monte Cristo because I thought that was quite a good little one. Great Expectations, also similar-ish, and it's the same sort of time period. And then for my third one, I wasn't 100% sold on this one, but I've gone for Ghost. So I know you love romantic comedies and you love Patrick Swayze. So I thought, could I shoehorn that in?
I think that's reaching. I think if you say, "Oh, you enjoy Ghost," have I got the movie for you?
You should go and watch this. Yeah, well, I thought I had two good ones. I thought I'd stretch for the third. What did the AI have?
The algo went for The Others. On the Ghost, is it real or is it not? We went for Sleepy Hollow in that
with
Neo,
Johnny Depp.
but gothic and a bit dark and stuff like that. And
then
interestingly,
completely different.
For the first time, the algos pulled up another film from the list and went The Fall.
No.
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, considering that The Fall is very much on the list as a film that someone who likes this film would also like. Even though
it's probably listening to what you've done. It's like it's probably it's been tailored to you now.
That is where we get into the difficulty.
Ranting to ChatGPT about your views on The Fall and why does no one else like it?
Yeah. No, I feel like between them, like The Others, and
you don't do
Hollow, because
Monte Cristo though.
I mean, from a book point of view, but have you seen any of the films?
The Guy Pearce one, right?
Yeah, there's a new one out as well. Funnily enough,
is there?
Yeah, I didn't really like the Guy Pearce one. Should have been Val Kilmer.
Well, it's not about whether you like it; it's whether it's the same.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think they pull it off. So, sorry, I'm giving that to the algo. Maybe we're just making it interesting as we get to the top. Can you get over the 51 mark?
I think you were so excited that it picked up a film on your list. You thought, "See, I've got great taste. Even ChatGPT knows it."
If you like this film, then you will also like. If it just completely randomly chooses a movie that's like just above it in the list, then I will start questioning how much access it's got to our.
So you would say if you like The Illusionist, you should watch The Fall.
Yeah,
they're so different. I don't know what's happened to you. Is this actually you, or is this an AI version of you? Because I'm not sure what's happening.
We can't even tell. I don't think if you like this, you're gonna like The Count of Monte Cristo with Guy Pearce or Great Expectations, because I like this and I don't like either of those films.
Well, I don't know what to say to you, but
Am I too
you
much
like
of an
Ghost?
algorithm now?
You are too much of an algorithm.
Ghost is not like this film at all,
but then but you're saying by definition it's one that you like, and not The Fall is nothing like this film.
yeah,
I think
you've been
swayed by the
Fall
algo.
is a little bit
just
more,
because it's on your list. You're
it's like
really
a bit more
happy.
magical. It's a bit more. Some of the visuals.
I would say
telling a story. It's very narrative.
Visual operates in like a black to yellow scale. The Fall is in like Technicolor. It's crazy.
It's got nominated for best cinematography. Funny enough, for the Oscars.
Well, there you go.
Illusionist.
Well, that's good. Finally getting something
up against the Prestige as well for the Oscar.
Oh, really? Yeah. It was very, like, I did think from a color perspective, it was very impressive. They really do move through different scenes and back and forth.
And it's also a lot of the time it has like the sort of old-fashioned sort of film where the corners are kind of quite dark and stuff as well. They pull that out quite often, I think.
Well, there you go. I mean, there's going to be outrage in the comments for this. I'm telling you now. So
from you.
but we'll move on slowly and bitterly. So it was number 16. So where's it going on the list?
Yeah, so just shuffling down again to number 18 to the next available. Like I say, I do think there will be there might be some that sort of move around, but the order is essentially there. Yeah, no, I still really like it. It is just one of those just one of those films that just makes me smile. I think it's really well executed. I just think it's nice in a bad way. Yeah, so I still enjoy it.
Nice in a non-bad way.
You
should be doing quotes for movies with this. I mean,
we've seen worse on DVD covers. Let's be fair.
That's true.
We can make up a magazine for me to be through. What about you then?
I really enjoyed this. I don't think I mentioned this to you actually, that because my good section was expanding, I've changed it into a very good and a good section.
Oh wow!
So bombshells.
What's the
cutoff?
What's the top film in the good section and bottom film in the very good section?
So the very top of good is Spy Game at number 18. Oof. And the very bottom of very good is Breakfast Club at number 17.
Oh, wow.
So that's the divide. That's where
Spy Game was just good. Yeah.
It is good, yeah. It's not
very good.
Great, is it? Yeah. It's just not very good. Yeah. It's good, it's just not very good. It's not, is it? It's okay. But anyway, getting back to this film. So this film I've got in the very good section. I've got it as number 13. Just below. Yeah. Interestingly, one of the first films for a long time to make it above Labyrinth. So below Malcolm X and above Labyrinth. So it sneaks in at number 13. So yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Awesome.
Ed Norton
that's a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. That's
yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, it's not really a magic film, is it? And I mean, I love magic films anyway, but it's not really a magic film. It's very character driven, and I think the acting is just so good. Like it really, like you said, and we've covered off different things like this before, like with was it Driver and the Driver one with
Baby
Ryan Gosling in, and then it's Drive. And then Baby Driver, and there's not, the dialogue is pulled back, and actually and it can work very well. I mean, obviously it's a challenge sometimes, but I think, like you said, in this, the dialogue, they pull it back, and it's, Norton is just, I think it's brilliant in this. It's really good. So I really enjoyed it. And then the great thing helped was I didn't remember 95% of it, so it was like watching it again.
Did you prefer The Prestige or this?
It's an interesting question because, yeah, I did enjoy them both. They are very different films, even though, like we said, they are came out in exactly the same year, revolve around magic, and they're all set in sort of like that ancient, sort of older time, Victorian time.
Ancient times.
Ancient, yeah, years ago. Um, oh, it's a good question. Oh, I think I did. I think I did prefer this because I think the two main actors. I mean, Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale in the Prestige are very good, and randomly I didn't remember Michael Caine's in that either, and
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson's in it as well. So actually, there's a very good cast in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, David Bowie. They're just very different. It's hard. I think it's hard to say. I think
okay, fair enough.
I think I'd probably watch this again before I watch The Prestige.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy them both. I think they're good. And I do actually think, weirdly, even though they're very similar, they are actually quite different films when you watch them.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Cool. Well, yeah, this is first for I mean, obviously we didn't even know there was a very good section, which goes to show how long it has been
weeks ago.
since we've had a very good film. But no, that's good. So we continue up the list with the classic. It's so many quotes I could make from this, but we'll just go with the classic. Hey, you guys. I think everyone should know that. Thanks to Tom Miller for the theme song. Now, Kev, I've got a card trick for you.
Here we go.